is the Tri-County Talent Forum with James Lamore.
Welcome to the show. About 2.5 years ago, two talented musicians from Sarnia, Rick Powell and Ben Setek, got together as a duo to perform their music in clubs around that area. Calling themselves Powell and Setek, their musical partnership was quite a successful one. However, just recently, the group has expanded to a four-piece for more diversity. Joining Rick and Ben are Brian Derner and John McIntyre, and the combination looks very promising. They've been working steadily to prove it. Rick comments.
We just finished a job at the Seaway Tavern in Sarnia with John last week, and it's a country club, and it was just a gas in there.
Do you have a favorite club that you like to play, or a particular kind of club that you like? Like, do you like a country club, or that's oriented towards country and music, or what?
Country crowds are more of a fun crowd than any bars I've played. Like, I'm not used to playing country bars myself, but I go in here and I see people just having a ride. They don't care who's looking at them or what they're wearing or anything like that.
How about you, Ben? And
well, we also played like playing down at the university is a lot of fun. We usually do a on-campus club type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It always seems
5 or 6 times a year we do that.
It always seems to turn into fun. Like we do Grand Bend in the summertime as well, which is just a gas.
Yeah. What is your outlook on the band? Like, are you looking to go in and do some recordings and try and get an album out, or is this just kind of a hobbyish kind of affair, or what?
Well, the recording is a very big thing. Like with John and Brian, that's our main intention now, is to get in and do some recording and do some of our original stuff.
Now that you've expanded the band, you think there's more possibilities?
Oh yeah. We're working on that right now. Contemplating. John's done a lot of recording, and Brian's done recording. They've both got albums and they've done recording on, and that's our main intention.
Okay, now Rick, you play guitar?
Yeah.
And sing, of course.
Right.
And you're singing on all your originals.
Right.
In fact, you're performing everything on the originals.
That original demo tape is all myself. A home studio thing.
Okay, and Ben, what's your capacity in the band?
I play a bit of piano.
Okay, and you sing?
Yeah, I do a bit of backup singing.
Okay, Brian.
Equipment.
Brian, you're on drums, right?
Drums, percussion, and vocals.
Does everyone sing lead?
No, Ben doesn't sing lead, and Brian sings lead, John sings lead, and there's 4-part harmony.
Okay.
So everybody vocalizes.
Yeah. And John, you're on guitar. Do you play steel guitar at all?
No, I just play a normal 6-string. I play a Telecaster, but I use a volume pedal, and I worked with a steel player, so I learned a few steel guitar licks, that lend itself pretty well to the situation, Ben covers the bass on the piano, and it sounds pretty good. It's pretty full for not having a bass player per se.
Do you think you'd be looking for a bass player in the future, or does the organs seem to be filling out okay?
Well, when we do, John will be playing bass if he chooses to, or else we'll hire another bass player and leave John on guitar.
Well, you don't have to do that. You can just pay me twice. Be fine with me.
Because John is
double job.
John is actually a dynamite bass player.
Double neck.
And he's
yeah, right. There's a solution right there. Right. That's true.
That's right.
Okay. How do you guys find practicing together now as a 4-piece as opposed to a 2-piece?
It's easier. John knows a lot more than Rick does.
Is there a lot more creativity, do you feel, because of the fact that you've got a little more input?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Every other person adds a great deal to the sound.
The problems get solved faster. That's all. That's with 4-piece.
Yeah, right.
If you've got everybody knowing what they're talking about,
Yeah.
I think it's the old less is more analogy too. When you can play less with more pieces and make it sound fuller without having to overplay. I think that comes into play a lot of things. So we're always hitting Ben on the fingers for playing too much.
But do conflicts ever come up of interest, or taste in music?
Never. We never argue. No.
Are you pretty well? But are you pretty well together on what kind of music you want to play and what songs you want to do?
Well, that's up to the writers, I guess. I'm not really a writer. I can do more with ideas, arranging ideas, than coming up with original ideas. I would rather have somebody hand me a few pieces and say, "What do you think of this?" And then I'll tell them, right?
Yeah, right.
But when we go into a club, we do what the people want to hear.
Are you doing any originals?
Yeah, we're
in the
doing
clubs?
a few. We're doing a few.
And which ones are those? You guys seem to do a lot of beer drinking songs. Is that because of demand and supply, or
well,
what?
we play for a lot of beer drinkers. You know,
Yeah.
and you got to relate to those people.
What people do you find are the beer drinkers, by the way? Who seem to be?
They all are. They all are. They all are.
I mean, you find there's a variety of occupations where the people...
Oh,
I find that
Brian, okay.
I find that the rock and roll bars would, they're more into cocktails and having this or that, but when you see somebody go into a country bar, I see them, they're buying jugs after jugs after jugs, and there's like 50 draft glasses on the table, and they're...
Did that inspire you to write Coors Beer, or what?
Coors Beer came from when I was in Los Angeles, and I became addicted to Coors Beer, and then I came back here to Ontario, and I couldn't get it, so all I could do was write a song about it.
And be heartbroken all along.
Yes.
Okay.
But it refreshes me whenever I sing that song.
What about your animal song? Seems like you got some kind of strong statements in there, about the treatment of animals and whatnot.
Yeah.
What should be done to the people who treat them that way.
Yeah.
Do you really honestly feel that way about
I
it?
feel that way indeed, because I lived on a farm for just a year, and I have 2 dogs. The one dog, Blackie, came from some nice person dropping him off in the country because they didn't want him, and dogs cannot survive on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the song came from. We got the dog now. He's a great dog, and Blackie appreciates everything he's got now, and that's where that song came from.
Have any of you other fellas written any originals?
I write words. John writes original songs.
Yeah, John has a 4 tunes on Michael Quattro's latest album.
What's that all about, John?
It's a rock album. Did it in Florida last year with Mike. I worked with him for the last couple of years. Last 2 albums he did. And I played bass on it mainly, and then the last one he used some of my songs on. But it's very middle of the road rock this time, He used to be a classical keyboard player.
Mm-hmm.
He's got another album coming up that I probably will end up playing on too, somewhere along the line. But I did a tour with him too, a North American tour, and it was all right.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I want to work with Rick and do some stuff with his things, because I like to produce stuff too, and I'm gonna, hopefully we can get some kind of deal happening. Fortunate that we're Canadians, because they're really pushing Canadian content these days.
Here are 3 other songs which Rick penned. The first one is called Soap Operas and Cigarettes, followed by Go With Me and Carmel. Where do you guys go to record, being in Sarnia? Are there any studios up there that you've got access to?
There aren't any in Sarnia, really. There's a couple of guys who got 8-track machines and stuff like that, but you pretty well have to go somewhere out of town. If I had my choice, I'd probably do it in the States, because you got more facilities. Toronto's good too, though, but I mean, we could probably record in Detroit or Ann Arbor as cheaply as going to Toronto and having to put ourselves up there and things like that, So.
Yeah.
In the States, there are more studios.
Yeah.
And everything's feeling the crunch right now,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
every
right.
business, so consequently the rates will be a bit lower, so I would think.
How about the clubs you're playing in? Like you mentioned, John, that everything's feeling the crunch now. Do you think bars are feeling the crunch? Do you see less people coming in these days?
No, I don't. I think the bars are always the last thing to feel a crunch in any kind of depression situation, because people will always entertain themselves no matter how little money they have. I mean, I think they'll always go to a bar. I know I will anyway.
We always have $1 for a beer.
Yeah,
always.
Bars aren't the most glamorous places to be at times, especially near the end of the night when the customers start to get rowdy and everything. Have you ever had any things happen? Any kind of scuffles or...
I never have problems with customers, never.
Never had any problems.
No?
Yeah, I was going to get a scuffle.
Yeah,
I was
right.
going to get a scuffle, not too many.
What do you do when something breaks out on the floor, say, or something?
Watch your equipment.
But do you stop playing?
No, unless it gets
Unless
really
you
out of
have
hand.
to.
If it gets out of hand, and a lot of people, like one club we worked in, I won't mention the town, but the chairs were up and the bar stools were up, flying around, and we had to stop to let everybody be aware of what was going on, so you could get a brace on yourself.
Oh, and duck.
But that was once. I hope to never see that again.
I find the entertainers in bars usually never get bothered too much. You know,
No.
It seems to be sort of an unwritten law, if there is such a thing. I don't know. They always seem to stay down there and fight it out among themselves. You know.
Yeah.
Well, if they do anything to the band, they don't have a band for the rest of the night, or they don't get to drink there anymore. You know?
How does that make you feel during the performance? Say something does break out on the floor or something. Does that kind of shake your confidence and make you a little bit jittery for the rest of the evening?
It bothers me because it has a strong effect on the people that are in there for a good time. They get really uptight and start to not concentrate on having a good time, but watching to make sure somebody's not going to drop on them from behind.
Right.
You know, and it upsets the whole evening, I think. Really have to work to get it back.
Well, if bars aren't of your persuasion, there are many alternative entertainments, and one of them is the movies. However, the scene there is not always so rosy either. See if you can identify with Rick's song called The Big Buffet. Your live sound is really fattened up, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the sound now? You've added, what, strings, or did you always have strings?
We've had piano, Ben piano, myself, I play a 12-string acoustic guitar. Now we have added John on the electric 6-string and the drums, and it's just, the whole thing has changed greatly. It's just great.
This particular tape that we have here is a 3-piece, right?
It's of the 3-piece, yeah.
Okay, what 3 are on here?
Brian on drums and Ben and I. Posido.
Posido.
That's who's on the tape. Po, si, and do.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's the first couple of
Initials,
vowels
yeah.
and whatnot
Yes.
from your names.
Right.
Okay.
Brian thought of that.
Yeah.
Definitely is not in any dictionary you'll find.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, John, now you've only been with the band then for, you mentioned, what, a week or something?
Well,
Yeah, he's-
actually before that,
yeah,
Christmas time.
Christmas
I started,
time.
did the first work, but only in certain situations right now until we get
Yeah.
things financially squared away. You know.
Like Brian was off for a month too until last week. We were in a car accident about a month
really?
and a half ago, and
That's how he got his new guitar out of it. He got more for his guitar than I got for my car.
Instruments
Yeah.
aren't cheap these days,
No,
right? Well, like,
absolutely.
how much is a guitar? What do you play? What kind
I
of guitar?
play $1,100 worth of guitar myself.
What kind of
That's
guitar?
an Ovation 12-string electric guitar.
I remember when they were $200 or $300, right?
Yeah.
For the name brands. How about you, John? What do you play?
I play a 1956 Fender Telecaster.
Ah, yes. Okay, right. Now this is for our musician listening fans. Okay, they can
Well, I hope,
appreciate those things. I
What
think.
year's your amplifier there?
No, I don't know. I use an early 50s old Fender Bassman, too.
Yeah.
So if the company's listening, I'd be glad to endorse your products. And, send me all free ones.
How do you feel about equipment? Do you go for a particular name brand, or is it just the sound?
Oh, definitely the sound.
Ben, what kind of equipment do you play?
Yamaha, one of those grand pianos.
Beautiful.
Oh yeah, they could send me another one of those too. You can't beat the sound. It's so close to like a real piano sound.
Are you thinking of playing more keyboards, adding, say, Moog, or
Oh, up eventually, yeah.
what would be your favorite thing?
Well, I'd probably go for one of those polyphonic synthesized jobs.
What on earth is that?
Oh, they're those ones that can do everything kind of at once.
Yeah. Oh, okay, poly. That's what that suggests, right?
Yeah. They give you your string sound.
The price
organ.
of polyphonic synthesizers has gone down, dramatically. You can buy a polyphonic synthesizer with like a 70 presets on it for $900 nowadays in the States.
Why has it gone down?
With the chips and everything, they've made the price come down. It's cheaper to build, and again,
Yeah, that seems to be the only thing that's coming down in price these days. Okay, Brian, how long have you been playing drums?
16 years now.
How do you feel about drums? I know a lot of guys go up there with 25 drums. Some guys go up with 3 and make them sound like 25. What's your philosophy?
Well, I've got 25 drums, but I don't use them. Like for whatever situation I need, I'll add or subtract. I'm using 4 or 5 piece right now, drums, and I've been subtracting less and less. I'm down to a pretty basic set now. Don't need any more for what we're doing. I can get by quite easy.
And Rick, how long have you been playing guitar?
About 18 years.
Do any of you have any formal training in music? Ben?
Oh, I got up to grade 9 on an accordion.
Yeah? Hey, that's right. Hey, you might laugh, but isn't that true? A lot of guys that learn to play keyboards start on the accordion when they're...
Just about grade 10. I went to Oregon after that.
And, okay, how about you, John?
I don't know, 16, 17 years. It's been a long time.
how do you go about picking your songs then that you do in the clubs and whatnot? Is that a mutual agreement among you?
In the clubs, requests.
Oh,
If people request songs a certain amount of times, we learn it. That's the way I believe to keep working, is to keep the people happy.
all the tunes we've heard up to this point have been originals written by Rick Powell. But the band also does some pretty attractive versions of popular songs by different artists. We'll listen to a short set, starting it out with Rock That Boogie. Where are you guys going to be playing in the near future then?
Yeah, we're going back to the Seaway Room soon in Sarnia. We're hoping to get down in the Windsor area.
Have you ever been out this way?
We haven't. I haven't myself, personally. This band definitely hasn't.
Is there mainly one club you're playing around the Sarnia area then that you're going to be at?
We work the Seaway, we work Courtright, we work the Canterbury in Sarnia at the odd time. And Petrolia. We can't leave Petrolia out. Squire Hotel. We always...
These are just the surrounding districts.
Yeah, surrounding districts. That's keeping
London,
us...
Grand Bend.
Yeah, in the summer, yeah, we get up to London. But, right now, in the wintertime, we're just sticking around to the...
Yeah. Are you having to use an agent to get these jobs, or do you just go in?
Not as of yet.
We take a tape in with us and let him hear it. That sort of proves it to him.
That sells it for us, yeah. Plus that, we work cheap.
You better not tell them that.
No,
eh?
I'm just joking.
They might not give you your price anymore.
Yeah, but he's lying.
Okay, fellas. Shall I thank you each individually or just as a group and say thanks very much for coming out, fellas?
Well, thank you for having us down here.
Okay.
We
Thank
hope
you.
to see you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Rick Powell, Ben Seatek, Brian Durner, and John McIntyre, the Posido Gang. If you're traveling the Sarnia area, look them up and get out and see them. Just tell them James sent you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be listening to CJOM during the week as we announce next Sunday's guest.
The Tri-County Talent Forum with James Lamore is a presentation of CJOM FM in support of our expanding musical community.